Hey y'all, Jamie here for Dig It Homesteading, and if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. Please hit the subscribe in case you want to see what we got coming out next. And if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. Today we're experimenting. We're going to try something new because I have never made jelly, of all things. I've made jams, preserves, stuff like that, but never jelly. And I have got elderberry from last year sitting in my freezer, and I've already been harvesting elderberry for this year, so these need to go. We didn't need that much elderberry syrup, so we're going to try out elderberry jelly. And I was also gifted this lovely gallon bag of mayhaw, and if you don't know what mayhaw it is, please look it up. It is a native tree around here in Louisiana, and this makes the best jelly, which I have had, and I absolutely love it. But yeah, one of my lovely clients' mama went ahead and collected all this and brought it to me, and I am very grateful. So now I get to try to practice making jelly. So I don't have that much time today, so I'm definitely going to work on making the juices of these two berries, which you need to make your jellies. So I'm going to at least work on that today. Tomorrow I might make the jelly. If I have even more time than I think today, then I'll go ahead and work on the jellies too. So bear with me. This might take me a couple of days with time constraints. But if you can get your hands on some fresh organic elderberries, and if you find some to harvest, wash them. I have a little short about how I take them off the stem, so you can check that out. It makes it a lot easier. And then I just store the actual dark purple berries, not the green ones, in freezer bags until I'm ready to do something with them. Okay, so I'm going to start with these mayhaw, and I'm going to go through, these are frozen right now, I'm going to go through and rinse them and get the leaves and pick stems and things like that out, so we can be having clean food, because a lot of times the trees are shaken, so all the berries fall to the ground before they're harvested. And sorry, it might be a little loud over here at my sink. Hubby got me a nice window AC unit because it was really getting hot in here. This is cool water, and I'm going to just dump all those in there, and I'm going to just start picking any little things I see like that, leaves and stems and such. You want to rinse these anyway, but I'm going to go through and pick out any of them that look bad or stung and get all the little stems off. They look like little cherries, don't they? Or little apples, a lot of people say. So I'm going to just go through this and get these all washed up. Nice and gentle like, because you don't want to rub all the red off. You want that color to stay on them to make your jelly a pretty color. Okay, so I got my ridiculously large pot. I think it's like a 32 quart. And I'm going to dump these berries in there. This is ridiculously large for what I'm doing here. But the fact that they can cover the bottom, I'm good. Now, I've been told just to add water until you can cover your hand, and you want to hold the berries down because they will float. And then as soon as you cover your hand, that's how much water you should have. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Alright, hand is covered, and I did do my hand just a little bit less since there was a thin row of these throughout. You know, it's not like a densely packed pot. If I had a smaller pot, then I would have covered my hand all the way, because I can't guarantee this is the same thickness all the way around. See, look, my hand gets covered there, but not over here. So I just did a little bit less And you'll see I also changed my mind. I'm going to be straining these once I have them boiled for a while anyway. So I just left, if they're small stems like that, and got out the leaves, well, most of them. So I'm going to get this over to the stove and get it cooking. And I am going to go ahead and turn that on high, although you probably can't see that. So I'm just going to put a lid on it. I'm going to keep an eye on it. And since I've never done this before, I have watched a couple of YouTube videos. A lot of them were family recipes. So you always really like those. I'm going to go, sorry about the angle, I'm going to go read my Sure-Gel because I'm pretty sure I have a low sugar Sure-Gel packets and I've never used that brand. So I'm going to go read that so I know what I'm in for, how much sugar I need, because I think I'm running low on sugar at the moment. I need to check. I might have some extra. And let's put the elderberries to go as well, and then I'll go read all that information. But anyway, like I was saying, most of the YouTube videos I'm seeing are family recipes, and a lot of them aren't very detailed. So this is also going to help me remember what I did. That way, if we love how it turns out, I can repeat the process as well. And there are going to be tiny little stems in this. You know, I don't know about you, but I don't have the patience to make sure every little tiny piece of stem comes out. Again, we're going to strain this. Let me get my other bag. So yeah, all of these that I'm putting in are from last year. And we're going to get these going right alongside the mayhaw. If I'm making one at a time, I might as well make the second one on the pot, right on the burner right next to it, right? Because I'm going to be here watching the mayhaw. And you'll notice the difference with this is we're not putting water in this. And this is a little burner, so this might take a little while. This burner back here, the glass stove top, and somebody smashed something onto it and it broke. But we're not ready to buy a new one because hopefully someday soon we'll be able to start making some changes to this kitchen. I'm gonna get this ready because as this warms up and defrosts, it's going to start releasing juices, and I'm going to use this to mash both of these down a little bit. I'm debating using a emulsion blender in here so I can make sure all the berries go ahead and release their juices how I want. And I'm doing all of this because I don't need them anyway, so I might as well see how many jellies I can make with what I have that I make in here. And if I have extra, I'm contemplating freezing it. That way, if I need to make elderberry syrup quickly, I can defrost it and simmer it and add all my other ingredients to have quick elderberry syrup. Instead of having to go through all this process if I'm sick to then make it, because I don't can it. If you've canned elderberry syrup, let me know. Don't think there's any approved recipes out there, but I'm interested to see what all everybody else has done and been successful at. Alright, so I'm just coming in for a little check, and you can see it's already starting to make some lovely juice, even though some of them are still partially frozen. So I'm going to go through here and mash these up, give them a little extra help, and this just looks lovely. Pretty much if you've made elderberry syrup, this is very similar. You really don't want the green ones in there, but I am going to be cooking this long enough. I'm not too worried about it. But my daughter helped me pick them and process them, so she's learning, and we'll just make sure this juice is extra cooked. It's going to be cooked anyway and then processed, so it should be fine. You really don't want it in there. For one, the flavor's not going to be as great as your fully ripe ones. But for another, it can still have more of the toxins in it. So look at that already. We've only been going just a couple of minutes. Okay, so the elderberries had just come up to a boil, but I took the lid off and see the boil's gone away. I want this to come to a nice rolling boil that when I do take the lid off or stir it around, that I can't stir the boil away. Let's check on the mayhaw as well. Okay, so I see some spitting right there. Oh yeah. Might steam you out a bit, but that is definitely what I want to see. And y'all, it smells absolutely divine in here. And those look great. So I'm gonna set a timer for those and check them again in probably 20 minutes. And these could take up to 40 minutes. I just want to watch the juice to get it as dark as I can. And this is a lighter variety. I'm not sure the name of it. Some of them are super duper dark. Some of them are a little lighter. So we'll see what we get. So I haven't been doing a whole lot in the kitchen or the garden. We can nearly grow year-round around here depending on what it is. So I'm going to try to take full advantage of that. And I've also been organizing. I went through and spent a day organizing my pantry because it, like everywhere else, sometimes becomes a throw it all and go, and it was just driving me nuts. I needed that place to be functional again and have people put things where they need to go and just get it all straightened out so I can see what food we do have, what food I need to order, and all those kinds of things. And I think I have big plans coming for that as well, so please let me know down in the comments if you're going to be interested in seeing what we got going on there. And yesterday we decided on a whim to redo Sister's floor because my parents have been redoing my grandmother's house and they had extra tile. So we decided to do that. Her floor looks lovely. I'll take you in whenever she approves it to let you see how pretty her floor looks. And she's just ecstatic. You know, just little simple things. It might have taken half a day for me, her, and Daddy to do, but she got to learn. And it's the laminate, the snap together, but it's a thicker, more high quality one than she had in there to begin with. And it's darker, so she's liking those vibes. She's in the middle of changing from her preteen to teenage vibes in her room. Y'all know how that goes. But anyway, we will go in there and get a little update on that project. So if you're interested in those type of things as well, I do plan on videoing it. Since it wasn't planned, I didn't do any videoing. We just wanted to hurry up and get it done as quick as possible because we were already tired. But I figured, hey, might as well. Can't always get free, and I like free. So I'm going to check on these and I will get back to you in just a little bit. Alright, so it's been 20 minutes and I'm going to find my rag because these handles are going to be hot now. And let's see. Let me get a spoon so y'all can see as well. I should find a big silver spoon. Can you see? Look at that lovely color. Okay, so I'm going to turn this one off. And let that cool just a minute while I check on our mayhaw. Alright, let's try to check the color on this as well. I'm going to rinse my spoon so that color doesn't look... I'm going to try this one since this is so low. Okay. We're going to let these go another 10 or so minutes. And I'm going to try to use the back of this spoon to mush some of these. This masher, I didn't even remember I had, but that is going to definitely catch those berries a lot better. So we're just going to go through and mash all of these. That way the last few minutes, I'm probably going to do 10 minutes more, and then we'll come check the color again. Ooh, I'm so excited. I hear thunder outside, and we've gotten a little bit of rain this past week, and so I'm super excited to hear that today because I'm in the kitchen. But that means if it rains, I don't have to go water, so I might have time to do at least one of these jellies tonight. Oh, so I'm excited about that. So let's see what we're up to now. Okay, I did put these on for 15 minutes more instead of just 10. And let's see what the color looks like now. Oh, I don't know if y'all can see, but I can see it is definitely pinker, and all the berries look different too. Way pinker. Let me get you in a little closer so maybe you can see the berries and how different they look. Look at that. They're all this orangey color now, and all their red has been released into the juices, so that's exactly what we want. So I'm gonna let these go another 5 more minutes, and so far between the two of them this has taken me about 35 minutes. So if you don't have a lot of time but you're able to do this in preparation to make your jellies, maybe the next day or a couple days later, then I recommend that, especially if you can't be in the kitchen all day long doing this, because some of these projects can really take a toll on you, or you just don't have the time. So you can do it like this and just break it down and do your juices one day and maybe a batch of jelly the next day and the batch of jelly a day after. And that might make the process a little easier for you. There we go. Getting some that are not quite as mushed as I'd like down. So I'm going to leave that going, and we're going to go over to the elderberries. I am going to use the immersion blender on those. Don't mind my immersion blender. It is definitely old and stained, but it works, so I'm not buying a new one until it doesn't. So let's see how this goes. And for all uses with hot stuff in the immersion blender, leave it in the pot. And this is still gonna shoot everywhere because it's not quite high enough. But I'm gonna just go around and blitz them up. So the ones that aren't smushed, we'll release all their little juices, and we're going to get this one straining. I'll show you the little setup I've got going on here. I am going to do this at my sink because these berries will stain. So I'm also using a stainless steel bowl there, a colander, and then a strainer. And I am debating on getting cheesecloth as well, but I might not. Okay, I decided I am going to go ahead and put cheesecloth. This one is doubled over, so I'll get that one in there. And this one is doubled over as well. So that is basically 4 thick. But the reason I decided to do this is because I'm also going to go get a bit of twine, and we're going to try the hanging drip method to get all the juice out of this. Okay, I went and found this. My daughter had found like a case of these things at an auction she went to with her daddy. And she doesn't use this kind of string to crochet, so I just make use of it for everything. Let me go get our berries and we'll see how this works. Alright, that's what they look like. Just absolutely lovely color. Let me get my spoon. I want to get all of this loveliness out of here. Now I'm going to probably rinse this pot since I have time and do this jelly tonight. But I do have to be mindful because I do have to go get sister from school. So I've got to watch my time for that. But in the meantime, I'm going to let these start straining and I'm going to work it through a little bit. And then I'll show you what I do next. Alright, so now that that's pretty well done, I'm going to put my string where I can get to it. And I'm going to start gathering up all of this cheesecloth. And I'm going to tie this string very tightly around this because we do not want this to fall and make a huge mess. If you have a second person, feel free to get them to help you. I am just here working away on my own today. And so you can see we've got that dripping away. And I'm going to go ahead and take this one out. This pretty much just held it out of the liquid. It's not really catching any sediment because this is fine, then this is a little bit bigger, and then this is big, super big. So this is just holding it out of the liquid so it can drip through. Let's go see what we're going to do with it. Okay, so we got everything moved over here because I have a nice strong cabinet here, and I'm going to just line this up right below my handle and get it tied to my handle, and hopefully the string works. I was trying to find my jute that I use for tomatoes and things like that, but that was who knows what I did with it in a rush. And I'm going to let that hang there for about 30 minutes, stop it from swinging, and then I'm going to squeeze it, and then I'm going to wash my hands super fast after that because this stuff stains. And just like this, I want to get all this cleaned up, all that berry juice cleaned up super fast as well, because it will stain. Okay, now while that sits, I am going to let these these mayhaws cool down just a little bit, and I might mush them a little bit more just to get as much as I can out. And my other colander is dirty, so I may or may not wash that since that one is in use. And we'll see where we go from there. I'm gonna get this pot from the elderberries cleaned up as well, and I'll see you back in a few minutes. I like to just cut the new cases around the edge. And if you store them in your cases in a place that gets dusty, you can just do this side, the front and the back, and then leave this flap on, and then as you store your jars, put the flap back over, and that will help keep dust off your food. Right now I have them in a closet, but I'm also thinking about making changes, so I'm going to leave myself some options and go ahead and leave that flap, even though right now I store them without the flap. But I'm going to go ahead and get some hot soapy water ran in here and get all of these taken apart, because I don't know how many I'm going to end up needing, and I want them to be actually thoroughly cleaned, even from brand new. Just hot soapy water and a rinse. Alright, so I've got pretty much the same setup, just a bigger bowl for this mayhaw. And I'm going to carefully come over here and try to get all of it to go through. Don't know if I really need the cheesecloth for this or not. If it does look chunky, I might run it through again, because I am going to smash these. This near gallon bag looks like it's making quite a bit of juice. So that is lovely. I'm going to fish out the rest of this mayhaw pulp and juice. I've seen people use a sausage press, and I'm sure people have come up with all sorts of clever ways to get all this juice out. But I think I'm just going to hand press today. Alright, one more little dribble of juice. Don't want any of that going to waste. Same thing here. I'm going to, well, this is the most horriblest spoon ever to use this. This is the spoon I use when my favorite spoon is dirty, but I didn't want to use my favorite spoon and not have it for when I cook tonight. You know that struggle? So I'm going to just go through with this potato masher and try to mash as much as I can, same as the elderberry, and let the juice runneth down in the bottom. And I'm probably going to just let this sit here and drain instead of hanging it. For one, I don't want to use all of that cheesecloth because I don't have a whole lot at the moment. And for another, if this works, why waste what I have? And if you do know a better way, where you don't have to have some big fancy press, just out of something you use around here, an everyday item in your kitchen, please leave that in the comments. I always am happy to hear people's tips and tricks. And heck, if you have a favorite recipe for either of these, leave that down there too. I'd be happy to try it out. Because as I said, this is all new to me. Even though I've made elderberry syrup and I've eaten mayhaw jelly, so I know the flavors. I've just never done the process. And you don't know if you can until you try. So if you've done any sort of canning, you should be able to do this, is my logic. Just remember, most of your pectins come with their own instructions, so you do want to follow the instructions on there and not just what I'm telling you, because my pectin is probably different from your pectin. Mine is going to be the low sugar Sure-Gel. Alright, we're going to leave that. But yes, read your instructions for your pectin to get all the jellies made. And I've always been told not to double or triple your jellies because it messes with the set. Alright, so it's just about time for my school run. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this and rinse my hands, and then I'll have to wait to get back to make any of the jelly. Look at all that that's still in there. And this has been sitting, dripping for 30 minutes. Which it does drip quite a bit, but mainly for me, I'm noticing this method allows it to drip, but it allows it to cool while it's dripping. And I'm gonna rinse my hands now and see. Okay, so I'm probably gonna squeeze this out a little bit more, but I'm not gonna keep that juice on my hands very long, because the longer it's on, the more likely you are to have purple hands for at least a week. And I'm going to just get all this drained out, do the school run, and then see if we can get some jelly made. Maybe by then my honey will be here, and he's got way stronger hands than me. And I might have him gently squeeze this, because he will bust this cheesecloth, and that is not what I want. So we'll let that drip and clean up our mess, and then hopefully get on to the extra fun part. This stuff goes everywhere. And y'all, this is a working kitchen, so, and plus I let my kids cook. And a lot of times if I cook, other people clean. So not everything is specifically how I would have it all the time. But when I see something gross, like this can opener, I like to go ahead and get it cleaned up and just teach them the next time they're wiping things up to go ahead and check things like that when they're wiping in that area, and that's how you kids learn. Alright, so I took all the pulp out of the mayhaw juice, and this is a very large stainless bowl. So that looks like we have 2, if not 3, maybe even more amount of juice to do at least a couple of batches, maybe another. And so far we have this much elderberry, and that looks like enough to do at least 1 batch. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Okay, so I did end up with extra time, but I did not put it to good use here in the kitchen. And I'm going to have my husband squeeze this elderberry, and so I can get the rest of this, and I'm going to bottle up this juice and stick it in the fridge for tomorrow, because we got a little distracted, sister and I will take you in there in a little bit and show you what distracted us and show you her floor. But she wants to finish getting her room mostly set up, because it was a throw everything in and throw everything out kind of job. So we'll let her get it a little bit more straightened up, and then we'll show you what's going on in there. So it's rather dark in here, but look at her lovely new floor. Not bad at all. We're still gonna do the trim. We might paint, because this paint's been around for years on her walls from since she was little. So we might go ahead and paint her walls and then put the baseboards back in. A lot easier to paint when your baseboards are gone. But what we got distracted by today is this little girl. Our big girl. She's kind of in the shade. But her name is Chippy, and a friend of mine, her family realized they were allergic, so she needed a new home, and sister was ready and willing to have a rabbit, and I was ready and willing to have its poop for the garden. Win-win all around.